So I'd like to call to order this regular council meeting in the town of Saugeen Shores. And again, the first order of business is a declaration of pecuniary interest, and you've heard me say that many times. So the next item is addition, deletions, or amendments. We have nothing there. Item 4, adoption of minutes, and it's been moved by Councillor Matheson, seconded by Councillor Mike Myatt, that council adopt the minutes of the council meeting of May 9th, 2016 as presented. Any errors or omissions? Comments? All in favor? That's carried. Next item is committee of the whole minutes, and it's been moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, seconded by Councillor Minaj. The council note and file the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of May 9th, 2016 as presented. Any errors? Comments? All in favor? That's carried. So the next item on the agenda is a general government report of the Committee of the Whole. It's a general government report, and it's been moved by Councillor Matheson, seconded by Councillor Mike Myatt. The council adopt the general government report dated May 9th, 2016, recommending that the lane located adjacent to Lot 5 on Plan 368, as more particularly described as Plan BA-2673, be declared surplus to the municipality's needs. That staff be directed to initiate the process to stop up, close, and transfer the subject lane. The council agrees in principle to acquiring the lane on which the existing trail is located. Any comments? Questions? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That is carried. The next item then is an environmental services and transportation report. And it's been moved by Vice Deputy Mayor Huber, seconded by Councillor Minaj, that council adopts the environmental services and transportation report dated May the 9th, 2016, recommending the following. The council approves the removal of the existing sidewalk and the installation of a new sidewalk on Emma Street between Goddard Street and Bicker Street, and approves the capital budget amendment necessary in the amount of $33,000 in order to fund the additional work for the reserve from the road reserves. And 2, the council approves the capital budget amendment to expand the scope of the Emma Street sewer project in order to complete the removal and replacement of the existing concrete pad in front of the fire hall in the amount of $12,000 to be funded from the road reserves. Any comments or questions? Councillor Dave Myatt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My recollection is that we said no to the sidewalk, but yes to the concrete pad.
There was there was an extension of the sidewalk east of Bricker on Emma. We said no to that one.
Okay.
And okay.
That was where the good sidewalk already existed, but it wasn't wide.
No, there's no sidewalk. There is no sidewalk east of. This is where the good sidewalk is. Oh. That we're tearing up.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor Minaj.
Your point's well taken, Mr. Mayor, and I went and looked at it again, and it's rough 4-foot sidewalk, but there's only a half a block of it. Back where the Dr. McKay's building is, there's a large open parking lot area there. Is it our intention to put concrete through an area with a sidewalk where there isn't one today with this $33,000 estimate?
Mr. Mayor, the project as tendered would actually install the sidewalk on that block where it's missing. These additional dollars would permit the removal of the sidewalk where it is with the replacement of the sidewalk 1 foot wider.
Follow up, please. I guess I'm still confused. I'm not sure I understand $33,000 for a half a block of 5-foot wide sidewalk, even though it's all new and we're going to tear up the 4-foot. If you told me we were going to spend the $33,000 and we were going to install new sidewalk all the way to Main Street to tie in with the streetscape sidewalk, then I would understand that. And then I might question why we're doing that.
Mr. Mayor, this is the cost the acting director received for the removal and replacement of the existing sidewalk on that block.
Again, and I don't want to dwell on it, but I mean, this is what happens when you do it at this time of year. You get the very worst value for your dollar because these guys have already tendered in these projects and in its addition, and guess what? We'll do it, but this is the price. So anyways, that's a comment.
That's not us here at this table. That's staff getting their heads wrapped around the fact that these blocks are important to the downtown and to the downtown streetscapes plan.
Nobody's
and they're
denying that.
supposed to be
Neil,
5
Neil,
feet
this is
wide.
an addition. The whole. I mean, let's not go down here because
Mr.
this was
Mayor,
an
it should
addition to our capital asset program that should have been discussed when we were doing that. This is the trouble you get yourself into when you start adding projects halfway through the year. When, I mean, we have capital asset management plans where we hopefully follow them. I don't want to go on about it, but we'll call the vote here. And so, all in favor? Opposed? That carries. So, the next item on the agenda then is a striking committee report, and it's been moved by Councillor Matheson and seconded by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau. The Council adopts a striking committee report dated May 18th, 2016, recommending that the following be appointed to the Southampton Town Hall Ad Hoc Committee. 1, Tim Anderson. 2, John Cherry. 3, Kendall Johnson Sawyer. 4, Bruce Martin. 5, Duncan McCallum. 6, Tony Sheard. 7, Mark Janakovic. 8, Cheryl Grace, Council Rep. And 9, Diane Huber, Council Rep. Was Mark Janakovic, which is the Heritage Committee representative. Okay. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Oh, there we go. It's been moved by Councillor Dave Mayat, seconded by Councillor Mike Mayat. Whereas the Ontario Energy Board has issued EB 2016-004, a notice of hearing to consider what mechanism may be used to recover the cost of expanding natural gas service to Ontario communities that are currently not serviced by natural gas. Whereas the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores recognizes the expansion of and provision of natural gas to any community is seen as an advantage and an economic driver as it allows diversification of energy supply and gives its citizens access to one of the lowest cost heating fuel sources. Whereas the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores encourages the expansion of natural gas service to any and all municipalities and towns not currently being serviced so as to improve the fuel diversity and economic advantages that it brings. Whereas the expansion of natural gas services has already taken place into the town of Saugeen Shores and was done so without subsidy from the neighboring municipalities, but largely on a cost of service basis. Whereas our current natural gas provider made a commitment to install natural gas service to the most densely populated areas of Saugeen Shores first, and secondly to expand the service to the less densely populated areas. Whereas the secondary expansion of natural gas service to the less densely populated areas of the town of Saugeen Shores has been slow or non-existent, and many habited areas on the fringe of serviced areas are not being provided with natural gas as previously committed. Therefore, be it resolved, the town of Saugeen Shores does not believe that the Ontario Energy Board has the authority to require ratepayers of one utility to subsidize the costs of another utility to expand into new communities. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores would like the Ontario Energy Board to consider imposing conditions or making other changes to the municipal franchise agreements and certificates of public convenience necessary to reduce barriers to natural gas expansion into less dense populated urban and rural areas of the municipalities already serviced by natural gas. Comments? Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You did a very good job reading that. I moved that motion, obviously, and the reason that I did so was due to this environmental bill, EB 2016-004, which has been largely commented on as recently as last week, I believe, by the mayors of our neighboring municipalities of Erin, Elderslie, Huron, Kinloss, and Kincardine, who obviously are those communities who are wanting to see natural gas expansion into their area. So they were in favor of this proposal. And what the proposal is basically saying is whether or not the Ontario Energy Board has the authority to allow a company like our gas provider to charge a premium to existing ratepayers, or existing consumers of gas, in order to take that small stipends and use that to fund their expansion into the other municipalities. And it just, on its surface just doesn't really seem right to me that they would ask the existing people who have natural gas, who got it without such a subsidy from its neighboring municipalities, but got it on a cost per service basis, to have to pay for that. And secondly, as was spoken about at one of the sessions before our council, the comments we heard from one of our citizens, the commitments were made in the early days that Union Gas would in fact expand into the secondary, lower densely populated areas, where what they've done up to this point is they've done the high density areas, the neighborhoods, the Gobles Groves, some of the areas where they've branched into the regional areas are more where they've seen a large consumer, like a large grain dryer or something. They've saw fit to run a line out there and pick up a few customers along the way. But largely the further branch circuits that they could easily do have been left ignored, and they would much prefer to move into a new municipality where you've got these dense neighborhoods once again, where you can pick up 100 customers per block kind of thing. So so really, if in fact it is determined by this hearing that natural gas subsidies can be charged, it would be my preference to see those monies used in the municipalities where those subsidies are charged, to use the money within those municipalities to expand those natural gas services to the less densely populated areas, if not even into the rural areas. Thank you very much.
Other comments? I'll support the motion, but it was interesting with the Minister of Environment and Climate Change policy, where they said that they were going to. So I wonder, where they were going to eliminate natural gas residential heating by perhaps 2030. I really wonder who's going to invest in any new infrastructure to residential users if you're not going to be able to grow the market beyond 2030. So I like the motion anyway. I just raised that because I think it's insane.
One more comment is, you're right. This is a very active file over the past couple of weeks, and our provincial government has made it quite clear that they've done away with coal and oil burning for electricity generation, and their next step is to eliminate the use of all fossil fuels, and natural gas is high on their hit list. So maybe we'll see the days of encouraging people to get back onto electric heat by subsidizing that again. So I don't know where they're going with it, but they've made some lofty commitments. You're right.
Mr. Minaj.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, not that I would advocate sending it to everybody that John Mann sends everything to, but have we got a send to list after we approve this motion tonight? Are we going to send it to specific upper tier members of government as well for their information, or do we just let it float in our own municipality?
Well, the motion reads that this should go to the Ontario Energy Board. I mean, that'll be the people that are hearing it. There will be lots. I know there's going to be other interventions there on this, but whatever you want. Whatever you want.
Sorry, can I?
Sure. Yep.
If you log on to this Ontario Energy Board and look up this EB 2016-004, you'll see that there are already sort of submissions, and so that's what I would primarily like to see is our motion added to that list of submissions, because what you'll find is the vast majority of the submissions that are on there are from municipalities who want to get gas into their.
Yeah.
The ones that already have it are kind of sitting back, but I think we should be making it known to not only the ones in our surrounding area that are wanting gas, but also the ones that already have gas, that they could be footing the bill for the expansion. So I would be in favor of a friendly amendment to have this motion distributed.
We should have it in written form in council.
Yeah.
So if you've got an amendment, write it out. I'll give you the time. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is bylaws. So the next one is the deemed Lot 24 Plan 318, third and final reading. And it's been moved by Councillor Grace, second by Councillor Dave Mayat, that bylaw 61-2016, being a bylaw to deem Lot 24 Plan 318, Town of Saugeen Shores, being PIN 33251-0025 LT, not to be a lot on a registered plan of subdivision, is hereby read a third and finally passed and sealed this 24th day of May 2016. Any questions or comments to that? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. The next one is authorize an encroachment agreement clause, and this again is the third and final reading. It's been moved by Councillor Mike Mayat, seconded by Councillor Madison, that bylaw 62-2016, being a bylaw to authorize the entering into an encroachment agreement with Stuart Eric Kloss and Margaret Irene Kloss, is hereby read a third time and finally passed and sealed this 24th day of May 2016. All in favor? So the next item is then again a bylaw to establish a short-term wage loss replacement plan. Excuse me. And it's been moved by Deputy Mayor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Madison, that bylaw 65-2016, being a bylaw to adopt a short-term disability policy and short-term wage loss benefit plan for full-time employees on the Town of Saugeen Shores, is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed and sealed this 24th day of May 2016. Is there any questions or comments to it? Councillor Dave Mayat. Excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would it be correct to assume then that we have a short-term disability and replacement benefit plan for unionized employees already?
Mr. Mayor, that's what this is intending to catch up on, to make it exactly the same.
Any further questions? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. So the next is the confirmatory bylaw, and it's been moved by Councillor Minaj, seconded by Vice Deputy Mayor Hubert, that bylaw 66-2016, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed and sealed this 24th day of May 2016. All in favor? That's carried. It's been moved by Councillor Dave Mayet, seconded by Councillor Grace, that this regular council meeting of May 24th, 2016, hereby adjourned at 9:34 p.m. All in favor? That's carried.